We're nearing the end of our hour here, guys. Anything you want to leave off with in terms of optimizing extended text ads? Anything about running an agency? Anything you want to leave off with?
I mean, I'll talk about really quick the expand text ads optimization a little bit more. I mean, I think that I like what Rob was saying. I'm sorry, what Nick was saying earlier about not touching things for no reason. It's like work for work's sake, like I think in some ways you can end up hurting things a lot more than you can help if there's things that are not broken. So if your bids are dialed in and you're getting traffic for the cost you want, things are working out. Like unless you're trying to have more impression share or lower the cost per lead or whatever, leave that crap alone. Like let it run. Find something else to do at that time, right? It doesn't mean don't do anything. It just means like focus on maybe your landing page a little bit more that month. So I think people get, my team included, I'm trying to I have checklists people follow, but I'm trying to get, them to also think like, let's do what needs to be done. The checklist is there as making sure we're not missing anything, but not to say everything needs to be touched every time. So it's kind of like really hard. But I think that for a lot of things, you should look at the 80-20 of optimization and also the impact of things, right? So like after you've had an account for 6 months, depending on how clean the traffic is, hopefully negative keywords are a nice thing to have, but they're not going to jump your account 20%, right? You're not going to add this negative keyword that somehow got by you after 6 months that if you just added it, now your cost per lead drops like 80%, right? So I think there's like a life cycle to optimization too that should be factored in, where like what's really going to move the needle after you've been doing stuff for 6 months? It's like, can I get more traffic, lower the cost significantly? Can I get better conversion rates? I mean, that's really what it is. And then the messaging plays into all that. But I feel like those are the more important things to think about after you've kind of found a lot of the other things that work. And like I said, with RSAs, with the pinning, we are pinning everything right now. Not everything, but like headlines one, we'll create different descriptions with different headlines with the keyword in them, because typically we'll have the keyword in headline one. So you might have 3 or 4 iterations of just that. Headline two will be our biggest benefit that we want to have in all of the ads or whatnot. So we may have 3 or 4 iterations of that, and we pin a headline 1 and 2, let the rest duke it out, and still give Google a chance to split test between those headlines, but not full control yet. Now we've done both. It's way easier to not pin anything. Quite honestly, it's so much easier. But for right now, I'm just, like I said, I'm bullish on Google's AI, but I am, when it comes to the ads, I see what they're showing the combinations. I'm like, who the freaking hell would want to click on that? Like, it just looks like crap. And it's like, oh, our best benefit was nowhere there. I'm like, all right, great. And then what happens is the client sees that. Happens all the time. Hey, how come we didn't say this in the ad? I'm like, well, we told Google we wanted to, but they decided not to show it. Then you have to explain it. And that's all fine and dandy. But the reality is, I know that most likely this ad is going to work better because I'm a marketer, right? I know that Google's got AI. Okay, fine. But I know that if people knew the price of this thing and we're the cheapest, it will have an impact. Not just that Google decided to show we've been in business for 12 years. Okay, that's great. But people don't care about that. They care about the money, and then they'll care about you've been in business for 12 years, right? That's how we think. It's like, you told me you've been a marketer for 8 years, but you charge like $80,000 a month. I don't really care because you ain't nowhere near my price range, right? I don't care about your experience maybe at that point yet if I can't afford you. So I just feel like there's some things that AI will do better and well, but I think I'm not willing to just give them the full reign there yet, because I just don't trust them, man. And the other thing I'll say, and I'll end with this, is that for the split testing, we're just trying to use different angles for each RSA. So basically, like maybe we'll have one about pricing if we're like a really good price, let's say, and then maybe one about experience if we're trying to harp on our experience. And those headline twos will be, or maybe the whole ad will be tailored to those sorts of themes. And then we'll use labels, like labels for the ads, to label what they are, right? Why? So now in aggregate, we can get a feel for doing a filter down on label, the experience label, let's say, and see how the ads in aggregate are doing versus the other one. And that's helpful, because otherwise you have to leave each aggregate by itself, and we still can. But I think sometimes it's good to see everything in one bulk view and know, okay, this ad and this ad comparatively across the entire account are doing, either better or not better, whatnot. So those are a couple of things we're trying to do for that as well.
One thing I'll throw on there about changing stuff in an account. I think there's value in having something in the change history, especially if you're white labeling work, Mark. You just have to have some sort of an accountability that something's happening, even if it doesn't need to happen. So even just adding in negative keywords, having click cease in there, auto adding in negative IP addresses or declining recommendations, having something in there, I think from a white label perspective is good, because I think a lot of the agencies that are selling it aren't going to be prepared to how to answer it. So just having something in the change history, I think is appropriate from a white label perspective. Just something to throw out there if your agency is white labeling and it's something you're doing. Even if it's working well, do some change history stuff, or you're going to get some shit from somebody along the lines at some point. So
Eventually it will happen.
yeah.
I'll back you 100% on that one. We literally make sure we up something every week, because then, for the exact reason you said. The other challenge that we run into is give me something to tell the client. Well, there's nothing strategic to tell you. You're actually the agency of record for the client. We're just the Google Ads people. So we don't really come to you every month on your plumbing account with an exciting new strategy, but we do have a list, and we keep notes, and we have a history. And that's how we pretty much cover that. As long as we're trending the right way, I don't care too much. We're doing our job. Our job is to get good leads at a good cost.
Yeah. It's always nice to lean on the change history when a client said nothing's been done in the account, and you open up the change history, and since it started, there's 2,700 changes in the account, and you're like, mister. So it's always nice to have that there.
Especially if they're only our changes and not their changes.
Oh yeah, especially if they're all sort by email. So who's making those changes? That's awesome. All right, guys, that's it for today. Until next time, thank you very much for your time today, guys.